Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Rick McLennan, and I'm the president of North Idaho College. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 2021 North Idaho College commencement ceremony. I'd like to ask the president-elect of the Associated Students of North Idaho College, Annie Vladovska, to recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched, we're so gallantly streaming, and a rocket's regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Quanah Matheson of the Coeur d'Alene Tribe will now provide a blessing for today's ceremony.
Gest graduates, my name is Quanah Matheson. I'm from the Coeur d'Alene Tribe. And I just want to say I'm very pleased to be in your presence at this time, virtually. And I just want to say a prayer for each and every one of you here at this time. And I know it's weird when it's kind of like on computer or it's virtual, but I still want to say a prayer and just pray along with me and in your own hearts and your minds at this time. Our dear Almighty God, very thankful for this day and life and living that you gifted to each and every one of my good friends and my relatives here at this time. I just ask that you bless them and guide them here on their walk of life. They put forth great efforts and strides to make a difference in their own life and their families and their relatives. And you gifted them great support in their life to accomplish these great feats, Almighty. We just want a beautiful blessing to come upon each and every one of them here at this time. Guide them in their life, Almighty. Give them goodness, strength of mind, and courage to go forth and make a difference in this world. And I just ask all these things, Almighty, in your Son's most gracious name, that you gift them, you hold them up, and you hold them high, and you give them integrity each and every day of their life, Almighty. And bless this North Idaho College again, all the people that go here, all the staff from the president on down, Almighty. And you bless these grounds that we are standing upon. The Coeur d'Alene Tribe, the Coeur d'Alene Tribal Nation has been on these grounds for thousands upon thousands of years, and we've been praying all these years for the goodness of life to be bestowed upon our people. And not just that, all our friends and our relatives here at this time. So bless us as a nation, as the United States of America, to go forth and make a difference in this world through our institutions like that, Almighty. I just humbly say all these things in your Son's most gracious name, I pray. Amen. Liam Lemsch.
Thank you, Quanah, for your prayer on this very special day. The spirit of your words is a very appropriate reminder of the Coeur d'Alene tribe's history on the North Idaho College campus, which was the tribe's summer gathering place. We strive to honor your traditions and culture, and we thank you for joining us today. What an honor it is for me to be with you on this very special day. First things first, let's recognize and congratulate the North Idaho College class of 2021. We have 792 candidates for graduation this year, the youngest of whom is 18 years old and the oldest at 55. Of our candidates, 529 have earned an academic transfer degree, and 263 have earned their certificates or degree in a career technical education program. We also have approximately 111 graduates from our local high schools and home schools dual enrolled in academic transfer programs who are also receiving their degrees today. Congratulations, North Idaho College class of 2021, and thank you. Thank you for your commitment to education, to yourselves, and to this wonderful place, this gathering place we call North Idaho College. Once again, will everyone please join me in congratulating the graduating class of 2021. Idaho's community colleges share a special privilege of being led by a locally elected board of trustees. NIC's board members live and work in our community. They know the faculty, staff, and students, and they share a passion for educational excellence which guides the college. It is indeed an honor to introduce them to you today. First, our board chair, Todd Banducci, vice chair, Greg McKenzie, Secretary-Treasurer Christy Wood, Trustee Michael Barnes, and Ken Howard, and Trustee Emeritus Judy Meyer. Thank you, trustees, for your commitment to North Idaho College. I'm also proud to introduce the President of the North Idaho College Alumni Association, Mr. Jim Lane. Graduates, by virtue of today's ceremony, you join the more than 3,600 members of the North Idaho College Alumni Association, and we hope you will value that achievement. Also joining us today is our guest speaker, Dr. Jameson Lee, Dr. Lita Burns, Vice President for Instruction, Dr. Larry Briggs, Dean of General Studies, Ms. Christy Doyle, Dean of Instruction, Workforce Education, and Ms. Kai Settlemeyer, President of the Associated Students of North Idaho College. Thank you all for joining us today. I would now like to reintroduce the President of the Associated Students of North Idaho College, Ms. Kai Settlemeyer. Kai, before you speak, I want to thank you for your dedication and service to the college and to your fellow students. We've enjoyed having you tell us about the special activities and events you and the ASNC senators develop for our students. I especially appreciate your participation in institutional governance and your commitment to the student body you are elected to represent. Kai, I wish you much success in your future.
Hi, I'm Kai Settlemeyer, ASNC Student Government President. I thought for a long time about what I wanted to say for this speech, looking back on the year that we had. There are so many things that could be the right thing to say, the most impactful or influential, but what I want to say the most to my fellow graduates is congratulations, we did it. Going to college can be a challenge in itself, and doing it during a time where everything is so uncertain and changing every day is honestly really difficult and really incredible too. I know I'm proud of us, and you should be too. This is an amazing first step to creating your future, and being here today means you didn't give up, no matter how hard it might have gotten. Although I didn't get the chance to engage with all of you as much as I would have liked, I'm so thankful I was able to serve as your student government president this year. Representing the student voice and making campus the best it can be has been the best experience I have ever had, and I don't think I'll ever forget it. From representing you on committees with staff and faculty to completing projects like more art on campus, sponsoring events, making the Rose Garden the perfect study space, and seeing how we can improve the classroom experience for everyone, I feel like I can speak for the entire ASNIC board when I say that we did our best to give everyone the college experience that we deserve. College looks different for everyone, and if I stood here and listed every single thing we did to reach every type of student that we could, we would be here all day. My experience at NIC has been a really great one, and I'm sad to see it come to an end. Ever since I was a kid, my mom and dad told me that I had to go to college. It was so important that I did. If I did nothing else, I had to go to college. My mom gave everything that she could to get me to where I am today, and I'm so glad that she gets to see it happen. Even though my dad is no longer with us, I hope that he's proud too. I have a lot of love for NIC, and it feels like I was kind of meant to be here. My grandfather came here when it was North Idaho Junior College, and my uncle, grandmother, and mom have all been students here, and I even got my GED through NIC's adult education program, and now I am getting my degrees from here too. It wasn't easy, but I've gotten through it with the support of my mom and some really great individuals that I've met here at NIC. And I would like to take a brief second to thank these really special people. To Jeff Carr, John Jensen, Kyle Johan Baker, Dodie Stilke, and Graydon Stanley, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I would not have been able to succeed as much as I have here if it weren't for all of you supporting me and asking me to challenge myself and do new things. All of you have made a huge impact on me, and I'm always going to be thankful. And thank you to the students of NIC who have made this place more than a pit stop in our education. NIC is a living, breathing community, and it's because of the students that it's really as great as it is. Coming to class and engaging with your peers, attending events, and even wearing your masks has helped NIC not only function but flourish and keep us open without any problems. It's been a year unlike any other, and now more than ever, it's so important to celebrate our successes. If we can get through this, we can do anything. Never forget how strong you are for doing this. You've made it to today, and that is so incredible. I'm proud to be a Cardinal, and I am so incredibly happy that I was able to do it with all of you. Each and every one of us is going to do something great, and I can't wait to see it. Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you, Kai. Your words will serve as an inspiration for all of our graduates today. It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce this year's commencement speaker, Dr. Jameson Lee. Dr. Jameson Lee is a novelist, poet, and songwriter with work featured on National Public Radio and the Poet Anthology, St. Peter's B-List, among others. His first novel, To Deer at Swim, was published by Litfest Press in 2019 and has since sold more than 12 copies. Dr. Lee grew up in the rural hills of Amish country, not far from Cleveland, Ohio, where sports fans learn humility. In 2015, soon after earning a PhD in English Studies from Illinois State University, he accepted his position here at North Idaho College, where he now serves as Associate Professor of English. Since then, he has set the bar high, demanding a great deal from his students and perhaps even more from his poor old knees, climbing and exploring the region's gorgeous peaks and tarns. And though his heart will always belong to the American Midwest, his boots have a happy new home here in the enchanting mountainscapes of the inland Northwest. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Jameson Lee.
Thank you, President McLennan. Greetings, colleagues, students, friends. I hope you're feeling buoyed as I am by today's celebration. I want to start by thanking the students of North Idaho College for the invitation to serve as the keynote speaker of today's graduation ceremony. Perhaps it's not surprising to some of the parents in attendance that on occasion, I don't fully endorse my students' choices, but class of 2021, I've never thought more highly of your judgment than I do at this moment. In the course of my preparation for today's address, I've learned a few things about this genre of writing and what sort of educator would I be if I didn't take this opportunity to share them with you. First, it's customary to begin a commencement speech with the performance of certain virtues, gestures of gratitude, for example, and modesty. As luck would have it, this part is actually easy for me because I'm regularly awed by the creativity, persistence, and good cheer of my students and colleagues, particularly North Idaho College's president, Dr. Rick McLennan, who has judiciously marshaled the college community through this tumultuous year with poise and grace. It would be difficult to overstate the debt of gratitude NIC owes President McLennan, and likewise to the college's brave and resilient support staff, some of whom have risked their lives over the past academic year to keep our campus organized, clean, and safe for faculty and students. I'm humbled by and grateful for the opportunity to work with so many talented humans here at NIC, and I'm honored to adorn our 2021 commencement with a bit of decorative language. A second piece of advice I encountered was that you should start with a bit of humor and own your personality. I never imagined that I'd give a commencement speech, which is not to say that I'm now fulfilling an unrealized dream. On the contrary, as a practicing recluse, I've avoided commencement ceremonies whenever possible. In fact, I have 3 college degrees, yet outside of contractual obligation, I've only attended 1 graduation ceremony. In 2003, I completed a BA in English from Kent State University in Ohio. Kent State regularly awards over 5,000 degrees per year, and so in a demonstration of profound mercy, they usually split the proceedings into 3 or 4 separate ceremonies. My graduating friend and I, iconoclastic rascals that we were, decided to do pratfalls at our respective ceremonies in order to enliven the repetition of hearing one name after another announced. Seeing one robed body after another across the stage, we would, when our turns came, smile, accept the diploma, shake the hand, then stumble and tumble down the stage's exit ramp. I don't remember what the commencement address was about that day, nor do I even recall who the speaker was or what they talked about, a realization, by the way, that comforts me presently. But I do remember the sound of 6,000 simultaneous gasps. That was a memorable sound. And while I love to subvert boring genres, as you now know, I'm older now, and if not wiser, at least somewhat subtler. At any rate, I've endeavored in this speech to find some middle ground between uttering generic platitudes and inducing thousands of gasps. The final piece of popular advice on commencement speech composition that I encountered suggested that one subvert the genre. Subvert the commencement speech genre. As noted, I'm well adapted thereto, but what exactly would this subversion entail? What does a commencement speech rubric look like? Which is to ask, what should a commencement speech do? Have an impact? Uncheck. Aim for a meaningful, inspiring theme. Uncheck. Use the rule of 3 to create pattern recognition or humor. As I considered various ways to subvert this genre, I got to wondering, has anyone ever deliberately sabotaged their own commencement speech? What fun. Reprising the pratfall seemed uninspired, but what if I just bombed on purpose somehow? Pondering these possibilities led me to marvel at how strange and violent the language of performance is. Bombed If one does poorly on stage, one has bombed. But what if one doesn't bomb? What if things go swimmingly and one is marvelously well received? In this case, one has killed. You really killed up there today, a generous colleague may soon offer. And I realized that sadly, it seems no matter what I say today, there's a decent chance I'll either have bombed or killed, unless, as is my wont, I can maintain mediocrity. In any case, if at some point today it appears that I'm bombing, I invite you to join me in pretending that I'm bombing on purpose, though I shudder to imagine the term performers have coined to describe that sort of bombing. As I talked myself down from pratfalls and deliberate self-sabotage, I realized the challenge today would be picking a theme to suit not only you, dear graduates, but also a few thousand viewers, parents, friends, colleagues, and community members. And while North Idaho is not exactly known for its diversity, surely a wide array of interests and opinions are represented by today's attendees. In its own way, even our small, homogeneous community contains multitudes. What then might we all have in common? Well, as I understand it, strictly speaking, we're all technically conscious, even, again, technically, during a commencement speech. And most of us are probably sentient, too, as we all exist inside human bodies. And to that painfully obvious point about existing within human bodies, I would emphasize that consciously or otherwise, we all have a vested interest in the humanities, the branch of learning concerned with human culture. I think this is a statement few would debate. So let's pair that commonality with another statement few would debate. We all desire to be free. In fact, I think most of us in 2021 would agree that all sentient beings, not just humans, desire to be free. Some of us might even add that non-sentient beings may also wish to be free, but that's another story. I understand my audience to be mostly human and mostly sentient, so I've made arrangements to address this group primarily, with apologies to your dog, guinea pig, and any accompanying bacteria, mushrooms. In the United States, we hear references to freedom, perhaps more than any other national theme or value. We frequently emphasize and celebrate our collective desire to increase our level of freedom. And while there are quite a few political buzzwords du jour that conjure in our minds intense feelings of anger or fear of various boogeymen, the term freedom seems to have endured as a word and concept yet widely accepted and endorsed. But how do we define this rather abstruse concept of freedom? For the sake of time, I'll provide a simple, if limited, definition, not without worthy critiques, but generally accepted by the American public at large. Humans should be free to think, say, and do as we please, as long as these activities don't harm other humans. Like other definitions of this broad concept, this plain definition reveals that human freedom has many facets, many fruits, and freedom of thought is an essential precursor to them, which is to remind us that an accurate measurement of one's freedom must logically assess much more than physical constraints alone. Yes, clearly, a person in prison is not free. This is certainly a valid metric of one's freedom index, but, dear graduates, I want to explore now the way in which, over the past couple years, your capacity to exercise your freedom has increased proportionally with your accretion of knowledge. And as a simplistic illustration, I have prepared this extended food-related metaphor. If, on your honeymoon, abroad, or some other jubilant and spendy event, you manage to acquire reservations at a Michelin 3-star restaurant, and if, upon arrival, you find that the elegant menus are written in a language you can't read, you are, of course, still free, so to speak, to order whatever you like. But your freedom is extremely constrained by the fact that you do not fully understand the choices available to you. You may admire the beauty of the exquisite characters on the menu, but sadly, to you, they remain unintelligible. Nonetheless, in this little dilemma, you're still subject to the effects of your decision, though I'm not sure this is as much a decision as a mere roll of the dice. Now, those of you who've recently engaged in literary analysis and other abstract reasoning exercises have sharpened your critical and creative thinking skills such that you are, no doubt, way ahead of me by now, with your ability to extrapolate the details and express the intended symbolism and hidden meanings of this hypothetical predicament. But I'll continue anyway because it's fun. We're having fun. Or at least I kind of am. Imagining your hesitation as you chew over this delicious and or grody mystery. Speciesism is bizarre. Though the taste of one sinew might be quite similar to the next, even the thought of consuming the wrong animal often produces considerable revulsion. Indeed, the effects of this little dining experience may range from happy accidents to physical pain to deep regret or maybe just mere disgust. For example, despite your illiteracy in this situation, you may discover that cold fish head soup is actually a tasty dish, but later rediscover that an ingredient in the soup apparently awakened an old food allergy, and you'll now spend the rest of your honeymoon swollen, cramped, and covered in a rash. If you regularly apply harm reduction principles to your diet, you may feel deep sorrow when you find that you've accidentally violated a sacred moral code, having ordered fermented lamb with ground mealworms. These are real menu items available at Michelin star restaurants, by the way. Finally, if you neither apply dietary restrictions nor any particular moral principles to your diet, you may simply find yourself presented with an entree heaving with the flesh and or secretions of a species you're uneager or even unwilling to consume, and that, having ordered that guinea pig I mentioned earlier, you just spent $83 on the warm, well-plated corpse of a rodent. There are many possible results, of course, but consider the way your ability to choose wisely is diminished by your inability to comprehend the outcomes these decisions might produce. And note, in this instance, you've not been denied entry to the restaurant, which is to say that your freedom to move your body as you wish has remained intact. Likewise, your freedom to say what you please, or in this case, meekly point at the text on the menu, has not been limited, but your inability to discern the ingredients in the entrees of the menu before you has demoted your Michelin experience from a delightful smorgasbord to something more like an inscrutable gauntlet of angry food. In this illiterate instance, are you really free to choose, or are you just stabbing at gruel in the dark? Now, if there's a highly literate, multilingual waiter around to translate menu items for you and educate you regarding their preparation and ingredients, you're all good. But you can't rely on that waiter your whole life. And I don't like that I'm kind of the waiter in this metaphor, so I'm going to just cut it off there. Plus, I assume by now there's a decent app somewhere that can produce some almost passable translation from a photo you feed it. But that's not the point. And poking holes in the metaphor does not make you slick, you pedants. Yet still, I hear a couple uncles saying, "See, this is why you avoid unfamiliar food and new experiences. This is why you just go to Applebee's, watch the game, and semi-soberly consume the same unevenly microwaved lasagna you always get." But clearly this is not a sustainable solution. We mustn't surrender the expanse of our freedom to the tyrannical fear of the unknown. We mustn't go gentle into that monotonous night of bland lasagna, and I use the word lasagna loosely here. For that world has its own tribulations, never knowing one bite to the next whether the microwave's cruel whims will set fire to our mouths' roofs or, with its frigid entropy, invite the grimace of that cold random bite. None of us wants to be shackled by such fear, such Applebee's. And yet, while we hope to operate on a higher decision-making plane than one motivated by fear, many of our decisions will nonetheless be at least somewhat informed by this weakness, this fear of the unknown. Fortunately, with a little pluck and a little more education, there is some hope. Learning reduces this fear of the unknown, of course, by reducing the unknown, little by little. Developing our critical faculties and analytical powers, apprehending a clearer understanding of the world around us, is necessary to discover what we want, or even, in some cases, what we need. Indeed, we might rightly question, then, whether, without full knowledge of the options before us, we are free to choose much of anything in our lives. In this important sense, then, our freedom is only as great as our understanding. Our options for speech and action are only as broad as our awareness. As such, the college education you've begun here at NIC has and will continue to open new doors for you and improve your ability to exercise your freedom. Your education has provided you with a broader worldview, a deeper consciousness, and sharper critical thinking skills, and hence, as you move forward, you hopefully have come to realize that you are increasingly richer, freer people. That said, my only real advice is that if you insist on ordering that lasagna today, tell them to set the microwave power level at about half and just double the cook time. It's worth the wait. Congratulations, class of 2021. We wish you good fortune in the dinners to come.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. It is now my pleasure to turn the podium over to the Vice President for Instruction, Dr. Lita Burns. Dr. Burns will be announcing the North Idaho College Foundation's Faculty Achievement Awards. These special awards are given annually to honor outstanding faculty members for their dedication and service to NIC and our students. Dr. Burns will also be presenting the graduates for conferral of their certificates and degrees. Dr. Burns?
Each year, North Idaho College provides funding for Faculty Achievement Awards. Recipients of the awards are recognized for excellence in instruction and service to the college. The faculty are nominated by students and their peers. I have the privilege of presenting the Faculty Achievement recipients for the 2020-2021 academic year. The Adjunct Faculty Award goes to Kat Gilmore, English. Faculty Achievement Awards for full-time faculty go to $500 recipient, Jessica Ratsky, Art and Photography. $750 recipient, Molly Mashad, English and Humanities. The $1,250 recipient is Brittany Heidenreich, Nursing.
It takes a lot to get a degree, English and math and even PE. researching sources and finding quotes, writing papers in MLA, wishing there was more time to play. So much to do, so much to do, so much to do, so much to do. Alarm goes off, it's time to wake. Hit the snooze for goodness sake. An hour later, look at the time. I'm so late, I can't find the rhyme. Too much to do, too much to do, too much to do, too much to do. And the air will cut the mess.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic port aboard this tiny ship. The mate was a mighty sailing man, the skipper brave and sure. 5 passengers set sail that day for a 3-hour tour, a 3-hour tour.
Colleen! Colleen! We have to go over this stuff again. Do you have a list I can look at, please? We're here to pump you up! Kibitz, where you at? You at the yurt?
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. What don't you understand, the buh or the bye? Bye-bye.
Oh, look! There's a crime scene and the bloody knife! Quick, detective, get the evidence! Oh, nice. Let's see what it does with blood auger. Oh, it's a good knife. Okay, let's analyze it. Under the microscope. Detective, you've done good work. Yes, I think I found another clue.
By George, I think we found the body.
It's Dad.
Surely we'll find some evidence today.
I'm sure we will. And my name's not Shirley.
I wish somebody would throw me a bone on this case.
Here, take mine. It's a femur.
Thanks.
I think we can solve this. And you guys rock!
I think there's something here. Oh, yes. Blood. Oh, let's check and see if there's more.
Here's the story of an English program that was turning out some very lovely grads. All of them had writing skills and cited their sources. Their rhetoric was fab. Here's the story of 3 programs: philosophy, modern language, and humanities. They were all studies in the art of being human, yet they were all alone. Till one day when these programs joined together, and they knew that it was much more than a hunch, that this group must somehow be a family. That's the way we became a division bunch. A division bunch. A division bunch. That's the way we became a division bunch.
Don't you think you ought to tie off? I need some slack. Told you should have tied off.
Making friends is they're the best. They can help you get unstressed. Picking you up when you feel down. Feeling blessed to have them around. Thankful for friends. Thankful for friends. Thankful for friends. Thankful for friends. Get you down, put your cap on too. You made it happen, just look at you. You sacrificed, you made it through. We are so very proud of you. So proud of our grads. 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 So proud of our grads.
It is now my pleasure to present the graduates for conferral of their earned certificates and degrees. Graduates, please rise. As the Chief Academic Officer of North Idaho College, I have the honor of representing the faculty and the entire instructional team of the college in presenting these graduates for conferral of their respective degrees or certificates, and recommend that all who have fulfilled the requirements for graduation from North Idaho College be awarded their certificates or degrees. President McLennan, I present to you the graduating class of 2021 for conferral of the appropriate North Idaho College certificates or degrees.
Thank you, Dr. Burns. At this time, we will proceed with the presentation of the academic and technical graduates.
Anna Galton. Dodato. Miranda Dodato. Christopher Jackson. Ezekiel Gill. Gear. Eileen Bruvelite. Destiny Mathis. Christine Campbell. Thank you. Dallin Purcell. Stephen Thompson. Krista Amanzi. Zoe Peterson. Okay. Faith Arambaru. Gail McCutcheon. Bailey Webster. Sean LeBole. Courtney Seidel. Tiana Seidel. Cody Bentley. Lydia Howard. Lily Kimmel. Kimberly Martinson. Jakayla Walker. Marley Lambert. Jaden Hofacker. Hannah McClure. Jameson Wasson. Cynthia Milton. Samuel Nelson. Stephanie Kojul. Francine Kojul. Kate Malinauskas. Taya Goodwin. Rebecca Cook-Bodens. Megan Morine. Bellamy Foley. Dorothy Crossan. Mary Myers. Kyle Stevenson.
Amber Davis. April Wallace. Isaac Wilson. Claire Hall. Cassandra Hansel. Aubrey Fusier. Sierra Gallion. Prairie Plaster. Kinsey Koenig. Michaela Byington. Robert Grisey. Trinidad Rees. Andrea Oseguera. Skylar Neal. Troy Amendi. Jay Hanselman Cox. Alexander Nettleton. Joshua Johnson. Tyne Christensen. Joshua Roach. Alexandria Ziegler. Deborah Gutierrez. Kyle Olivier. Erica Ellsbury. Catherine Brenneman. Reagan Olson. Madeline Zilm. Valerie Luna. Maisie McManus. Hayden Johnson. Callie Shipman. Ryland Hoyt. Landon Hughes. Elise Jones. Belden Lindsay. Marcella Glenn. Alara Langley. Kara Glenn. Calvin Schenkenberger. Derek Bowe. Carissa Alexander. Samantha Cundiff.
Claire Romero. Cassiana Azzolini. Lindsay Moss. Lillian Fletcher. Darby Linholt Anderson. Claflin. Devin Claflin. Dylan Duncan. Alicia Mazzali. Gabriella DiMartini. Savannah Morris. Taylor Dolezal. Ashley Butterfield. Jill Gardippi. Cheryl Lockhart. Riley Watt. Julia Moore. Jennifer Anderson. Alex Riley. Bailey Cook. Marino Metcalf. Brianna Carhart. Caden Gates. Lauren Vavrosky. Edward Payne. Mackenzie Ferris. Bethany Bortz. Lisa Llewellyn. Cody Patterson. Melissa Charvez. Jocelyn Lopes. Adeline Curtis. Dalton Lewis. Kristen Luna. Sydney Cochran. Braden Ethington. Cody Paulson. Thomas Oliver. Amber Pollard. McCall Nagy. Rachel Clark. Lacey Garden. Evelyn Fisher.
Tiffany Salyer. Vincent Keck. Nicholas Smith. Elizabeth Lautzenheiser. Madison Howe. Courtney Rose. Hayden Bolovanska. Bailey Mongan. Alexis Hildreth. Michaela Kohlhoff. Tiara Lambert. Ella Wilson. Noah Moreland. Cyrus Vore. Tyler Roberts. Kara Ramirez. Bennett Cunningham. Annie Vogie. Jairo Aguirre. Megan Ellis. Max Warnell. Gray Pocious. Hannah Warwick. Justine Lackner. John Ingersoll. Madeline Heaton. Lisa Horton. Erica Rios. Jennifer McCalmont. Jackson Davis. Rianne Jackman. Levi Bailey. Casey Weber. Tyrell Jansen.
Laura Hamblin. Stephanie Coates. Felicia Elliston. Christine Cherrier. Kaylina Grover. Aspen Green. Lucia Landrus. Daniel Simmons. Elizabeth Chepleski. Tessa Overholser. Tanner Bogar. Abby Melton. Brooklyn Stone. Kayleen James. Malia Judd. Libby Cook. Mason Sebastian. Natalie Blair. Keith Meeks. Vanessa Robinson. Stephanie Romero. Madison Meeks. Caitlin Kramer. Noah Morton. Carol Morrison. Balin Ivy. Gabrielle Mendoza. Guadalupe Martinez. Jaden Pratt. Lindsay Jelenowski. Hannah Neff. Haley Lavasser. Anna Mooring. Kaylee Martinelli. Christiana Haynos. Sarah Bohannon. Jessica Gates. Doshanique Beltran. Victoria Williams. Nina Ray Kiefer. Sherry Booth. Jordan Nomi.
Patrick Schwab. Ryan Lennox. Matthew Stolley. Lydia Dribbin. Abigail Roy. Natalie Buckline. Maya Maddie. Ashley Smith. Haley Helmick. Leviathan Kinsey. Ashley Munt. Katrina Martinson. Eliana Walsh. Erica McDonald. Shayla Merrifield. Rhiannon Hurst. Delaney Charhouse. Susanna Mendez. Ernest Mendez. He needs a card number. Brooke Young. Haley Nelson. Kaya Settlemeyer. Kevin Lonham. Nicholas Beck. Lilith Hernandez. Colleen Hotmer.
Graduates, on the recommendation of the faculty and the Vice President for Instruction, and by the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees in the state of Idaho, I confer upon each of you who've completed the necessary requirements of your respective degrees and certificates, all the rights, privileges, and honors appertaining thereto. You may now move your tassels from right to left. You are officially college graduates. Ladies and gentlemen, I proudly present to you the North Idaho College class of 2021. Greetings, class of 2021. As a volunteer and a retired educator, I consider it a privilege to be the president of the NIC Alumni Association. I'd like to personally congratulate each and every one of you for your perseverance and completing your education. The NIC Alumni Association unites thousands of alumni
who have chosen to express their active support for North Idaho College and stay connected with NIC. We hope you'll remember your journey and how you were encouraged by your instructors while you're attending school here. We encourage you to be an ambassador of the college and share with others how valuable NIC is to our community. I'd also like to invite you to join the Alumni Association. It's free and it's easy to sign up. Go to the website and join the alumni family today. On behalf of the NIC Alumni Association Board of Directors, we wish you great success. Congratulations.
This concludes our ceremony honoring the graduating class of 2021. Graduates, I ask that you thank all of the people who had so much to do with your success and of your getting to this graduation day. Your parents, your families, and your friends. They supported you, they believed in you, and had faith in you even when you might not have had it in yourself. Please find a special time to let them know how much you appreciate them for helping you make it here and for making this day possible. Congratulations again to the class of 2021.